What's up, YouTube? It's your boy back in the building. Wow, that's interesting. Here with another reaction. We got Sneako versus ABBA debate. I watched this a little bit. Even though I don't even agree with a lot of what or how ABBA and Preach react to certain videos, I can definitely say I understand his views. Being a little bit older myself, I'm still in my 20s. Sneako, this guy, is in complete rage, and for what I'm not understanding. I feel like I used to be that way for a little while, but there's a time and point where you need a all around conscious understanding of the world, which he doesn't understand. I don't know. He's in one. He doesn't understand. He's literally in one extreme. But let's go ahead and play the clip or play the vid, and we're gonna commentate through. Let's go.
Your channel's doing really well. You know, congrats. What have you noticed? Because you get almost 1 million views on every single reaction video. You do social commentary on a regular basis. How's your perception of the world changed? What's your world view now? What's some stuff that you're thinking about that other people probably are not tapped into because of how much social commentary you do?
If you're asking me what's changed about me, I think being around Preach, having the opportunity to, it's also like my time on YouTube has been interesting because I started really aggressively when I was around 26 and I'm 32. That's been a really big transitional period in my life. I think I've become much more relaxed. I've just chilled out a lot more.
I didn't even know he was out for that long.
Not as angry.
Pause it real quick. I didn't even know he was out for that long, or he was doing YouTube for that long. I know I've seen him for a little while for the past 3 years. I've been kind of following their content, 3-4 years. But yeah, I didn't know it was it's almost 6 years now. I know I believe he's 32, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't have as many issues. I'm in a much better place.
You're making a lot more money.
I mean, that's only been the last year and a half. Before that, I was still making 30, 40K a year. So you have to imagine the period where most of my change happened, I was still making the same amount of income.
Still making 30,
and I've
40K
been living
a year.
on 30 to 40K most of my life. Either working in the military, running my own business, doing all this stuff. It's only during the pandemic that things blew up. Because people don't realize during the pandemic, we went from 120K to 1 million. So people are like, oh, you guys are rich now.
Hold up. I didn't even realize people were making this much money during the pandemic. Well, I was trying to hustle my ass off in these streets during the pandemic, man. I could have made me a whole channel, probably blew up. Everybody was at home. Didn't even realize that. That's kind of crazy, though. Man, they blew up 10x. 120 to 1.1? Sheesh.
No, you guys changed. It's like, bro, it's only been the last year and a half. What do you think? I went through 30 years of my life living one way, and then I got to 32, and now I'm a different human being. They don't know me like that. But my homies who I've never changed. I still got the same friends from when I was poor to today. We still kick it. We can spend time. My family members, none of these people see me as changed. But everyone online is convinced I have. I'm just like, hey, man, it's all
well, maybe it's not how people perceive you, but how has your worldview changed? Getting money.
Yeah, so to that point, it's like because I've changed as a person in terms of being much more mellowed out, I'm much more reflective. I'm much more spending time listening, which is part of why I can't stream, because I feel like I talk too much. Me personally, I can't do it because I have to spend a lot of time listening, or sometimes, I don't know if you ever have this, Nico. Sometimes I'll talk and I'll be mid-sentence and I'm like, wait, why am I still talking right now? What the fuck am I even saying?
Yeah.
I have moments like that, and that's when I realize, I might need to shut the fuck up and do some reflection. And people meet me in person sometimes, and they realize I'm really quiet, and I prefer listening. And so I think that's the biggest change. I'm just slower, I just take my time a lot more.
That's one of the biggest things for most people, most men in general, people in general, I should say, is do more listening than talking. Only speak when you're spoken to is a very good indicator of a great listener. Also, that you're paying attention to the next person, because a lot of people got a lot on their mind, especially if you ever had a sit-down conversation, or if you ever had a conversation with somebody, and I would say in a relatively less rambunctious place or rambunctious. I can't even pronounce that. Less busy places. That's what I'm trying to get to. Is people got a story to tell, and you press the right button, you ask the right questions, they'll tell you everything. It's not this being in this world, being in this life. It's all about making a connection. Whether that be friendship, business, work related, whatever it is. I mean, at the end of the day, what I see in my point of view is it's really good and great to make connections outside of yourself, because each one can help one another to become a better person if you're in the right circles. So it's okay to not be the loudest person in the room. And just because you are the loudest person in the room doesn't mean, you are less than either, or you're projecting per se. Because sometimes you do need to be the loudest person in the room. There's time to speak up and there's times to stay quiet. So you better understand your place and your role, especially when it comes down into different rooms, different settings. Understand your hierarchy and understand your place. Understand where you need to go ahead and put your foot on the ground and say this is wrong. So it's really good to figure that out when you're growing as a human being and saying what you got to say and speaking when you got to speak. Okay. So let's go ahead and continue.
I just spend more time listening to people. So I can see the ways, rather than being so antagonistic and sitting across from somebody like, you're fucking wrong, or whatever it is, I can spend time and be like, where do we agree here? Where's our common ground? Where do we disagree? Where can we get to the point of this shit? And so I'm much better at problem solving. This is even something I reflected with my relationship with Preach. It's like, there was a lot of turbulence business-wise and through a work relationship initially, because conflict resolution wasn't something I was the best at. But over the years, having somebody you work with over that time, you have to learn a lot of really important life lessons. And it's taught me a lot in that regard. It's just like, I know how to step back and listen a lot more nowadays.
You know what happened to me when I stepped back and listened? I realized most people don't think. Most people have nothing to say. Most people just echo the same stuff that you say. Most people are virtue signaling and genuinely that's why I get so frustrated and I interrupt people and I don't have that same thing where you mid-sentence what the fuck am I talking about? I'm pretty set in stone with my worldview. Mm-hmm. I genuinely think I've taken the red pill. I see the truth of the world, and the red pill is bigger than just women. The red pill is realizing that we're all just pawns in this game. Mm-hmm. They're controlling us completely. And so
see, the biggest problem with that, and it's not a problem, it's more of a growing pain. A lot of people don't understand this red pill, blue pill stuff is literally made up. But understanding your place and where you are in the hierarchy of grand scheme of things, yes, most of us are pawns. But within the circle of your own friends and the circle of your own network, you can still be a king. You can still be that person. Everybody has a semicircle of things. So the biggest understanding, or the biggest misunderstanding, I should say, is the fact that I know, especially for men, you're enraged because you don't have that full total control of doing what you want in the world, even if you are living decently. You can only control what you can control. You can't worry. Once you become of age, once you become experienced and understand, you can only control what you can control, and you cannot worry about what you cannot control, or else it's just gonna make you. It's gonna drive you crazy. Being able to do whatever in your own world is very important. Everybody, if you really look at the world and perceive the world as a big old planet with many different planets in it, right? So I'm a planet within myself. I have my own story, I have my own journey, and I'm trying to become the king of my own life, right? But if you start thinking like this, where oh, you know, like the grand scheme of the government does X, Y, Z. Yes, it can happen. You know, whether you live in different parts of the world or you live in America, it does happen. Um, fortunately enough, fortunately in America, for the most part, depending on where you at, you still have a choice, right? And even in certain countries, you still have a choice to do what you want. There's still got to be rules, laws, and regulations, or else everybody's going to be looking like the Wild Wild West. Uh, you know, this whole government controls. Um, there's nothing that we can do about it. The government has been in place for numbers of years before our time, for the most part. Government is needed. Can they do a better job? Of course, they can do a better job. Um, it's like one of the two things. It's like this. For example, YouTube is its own government. It's a business, but its own governing body within the business. Now, people get mad at YouTube for taking off their, deleting their channel, or putting copyright claims on their stuff, putting strikes on their channel, uh, due to X, Y, and Z, whatever law or whatever thing that they broke, right? But this is due to before there was any real laws or guidelines on YouTube, where people were putting up anything on here. And I believe this is before advertising, between the time of 2000, I guess, the inception of YouTube, 2005, 2006, to I think around 2008, 2009, before they started doing the ad revenue. Um, I think people were putting things left and right up on here. And, things was bug out. People were getting killed. People were getting, you know the deal. People were doing the craziest things on YouTube because it was a free range. And you see how messed up the world is. But then YouTube had to come in and put guidelines. Then they had to put even more guidelines because they started to try to hide it within the video that they were doing. So it's only the reason why there is government, the reason why there's things that needs to be in control of people, because a lot of people do a lot of crazy things. Or I wouldn't say a lot, maybe a few people do a lot of crazy things. And it makes it look bad for the rest of the people. Therefore, we got to put in laws for the people that are crazy and doing buck wild stuff, immoral stuff. Is YouTube, making everybody that's a creator or a commenter a pawn. I mean, that's up to your own, perception of it. But at the end of the day, man, you gotta get out that thinking of, like you're trying to save the world. You can only save yourself. You're your own world. And everybody that's around you, that attached to you, they're part of your world. But you know what I'm saying? Like, think of yourself first. Everybody else comes second. Once you save yourself, you can save the world around you. Period. As simple as that.
Because I follow that, and I don't see how anyone cannot see that, like, as a reality. Like the pharmaceutical industry, the banks, the government, everything is all a scam meant to manipulate and control us. So because I follow that, like I never find myself get off track. Like I stick to that because I don't see how that's just not the truth.
It's part of the truth. It's not the end all be all though. It's part of the truth. That's one half of the truth, literally. That's why it's a red pill and blue pill. You might need to take both to get the actual truth. But I don't even believe in taking pills or, where this half, that half. You just want to become the best version of yourself. The best version of yourself is an all-conscious person that understands, hey, there's this side, there's that side. There's the left side, there's the right side. Period. That's why we have left and right. You know what I'm saying? That's why we differentiation. I can't speak today. This is why we have a difference in type of cars we pick, houses we choose, communities that we stay in. there's always going to be a separation, right? There's always going to be a hierarchy of things. Once you understand this hierarchy in life, your life will be fine. Understanding where you at in this life is perfect. Once you understand where you are at now is fine. You got to do the steps and, make sure you complete the requirements so you can level up in life. That's all it is. You got to do the steps and complete the requirements to level up in life, to make you feel and make you feel like you're progressing and things are not controlling you. Because at the bottom, yeah, when you're at the bottom, it feels like everything is controlling you for sure. Let's go ahead and continue.
That is the truth. We can't trust the government. There is brainwashing. Social media is bad for you. TikTok is ran by China, meant to manipulate people and make them all like change their gender and believe in nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
And another thing with social media can be bad for you. You have to control what you look at. As for the kids that are in social media, like, they're more impressionable, which is understanding, where those people's lives can get controlled or, make them think in a certain way based on people who they look up to. But this is also based on a broken family that they probably have at home. That's what, it's really whatever circle you're in, that's where you're going to go ahead and, get certain ideas from, right? It's where you get your thought process from. As the saying goes, birds of a feather flock together. So what you attract is really a reflection of who you are at the end of the day, unfortunately. So, just the thing is to strive to get better every single day.
I understand.
Once I realized that and I talk to people, I'm like, oh my God, these people have absolutely nothing original to say. They're just saying, so they just have to go, well, this is what I think about Trump. And well, I don't like a pro-life, pro-choice. It doesn't fucking matter what you think about pro-life, pro-choice. We have no effect. We can't change it. There's no point in voting. There's no point in putting BLM in your bio. The world is the way it is.
There's a point in voting when it comes to and this is why I came to a conclusion. I used to think like there's no point in voting. There's no point in voting in the grand scheme of things. There's no point in voting if the people you're I've never heard. Hold on. So let me take this back. I've never voted before in my damn life, but from what I do understand about voting is, I think when you go to the polls, I don't think you don't just go to the polls and pick, which president you think, who you want to represent you, whatever, right? I don't think I don't think you go right away in picking that. But what you do go into, I believe, what I understand is there's going to be other slew of different, I guess, local governments that you do pick and representatives that you do pick during this time as well. So those are important. So being a part of your community, and I'm talking about from the very smallest from the district judges to the other district officials within your local area, to the actual mayor, to the actual state representatives, then you can make changes that are positive for the rest of them if they are doing the right thing, if they are necessarily representing you. Because at the end of the day, if it's not social media, it's other people, and other people are just as cruel. Other people want to get off on other people. Other people are looking to screw over other people for just the aspect of money and power, right? The aspect of money and power. So it's really, you really gotta vet these people. You gotta really vet these guys that are in these positions of power. And the power is still with the people, but the people make it seem like they're helpless. If we actually band together and tried, and we could actually take down the government, but the people are worried about taking care of their livelihood. So if other people worry about taking care of their own livelihood, their own families, and we can't band together, we should make sure we do the best job of taking care of our own lives. It's one or the other. Either we band together to overtake the people that are good, to overtake the corruption, or we just go ahead and continue with our own world and our own lives and make sure that that's better. You know, and that's something we can really do.
It is, and the only way we can act accordingly is taking our power back and fighting that.
I'd say this. There's a point where you learn that a lot of things that you've been taught were lies. So, for example, in my case, I remember being pushed so heavily to go to school. This is before the internet was like popping. And I was a 17-year-old who hated academia. And my parents pressured me so much. My guidance counselor pressured me. I had good grades. I hated every second of being in school. And then I remember going to orientation day for university. They let you come in to see what university was like. And I walked in and I went to a lecture hall and I fell asleep. And I realized, like, I can't do this. There's no way I'm paying money to go do this shit. This is not for me, but the whole world is constantly telling me. So I ended up just joining the military instead. My mom stopped talking to me, you know. And it was a tough period. Spent 2 years in the military. My third year, ended up leaving after that. And then had the money I had. Speaking to a lot of my friends from university, I saw how miserable they were. And 4 or 5 years later, what I ended up realizing is a lot of the stuff that I'd been forced to accept as being true, like you need to go to school, you'll be a failure, all this stuff, turned out to be bullshit. And I was angry for a long time. And then I get to my latter years and, you know, and talking with my parents and understanding. What I realized wasn't that these people were trying to feed me a lie.
They just cared about you.
Exactly. They were trying to feed me what they thought was
Which
right.
is a lie.
Hold on. It's not that they were trying to. They
bro,
were
let this
they
man
were lying.
finish.
They didn't know they were lying.
This dude keeps interrupting.
That's why I'm angry. Because
Like, first and foremost, like, if somebody is speaking, please do not interrupt. Let them finish their thought. Or if you do plan on interrupting, interrupt respectfully. Because there's a respectful way to interrupt, and you go by point. They make a point, be like, hey, what about this, blah, 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 and then let them continue with what they had to say. Like, this dude's just interjecting and is, you know, just being rude. Like, there's no way you can solve a problem. He's bringing up all the problems but no solution. Like, this is what you got to get away from. People that don't bring up solutions are the problem. That's all I got to say.
everything people believe is
Breathe. Bring it down.
Now, why bring it down?
Hold on.
Let's just relax.
I understand your rage because I've been there. I just want you to hear me. Okay?
I hear you.
So when my parents are saying
He's not
all this
hearing
stuff, I'm realizing the intention that they came at me with, and it made me resent them a lot less because I understood the misconceptions that they were taught. Right?
I understand that.
And so once I realized that, it kind of hit me that a lot of people who are doing wrong things to me, or maybe the way that society's structured in some ways are doing wrong things to me, isn't necessarily because they have evil intentions. Sometimes
Bro, that's obvious. There's some obvious stuff. I know that because everybody's brainwashed. It's not their fault they make no sense. They tell us to make no sense. So I'm trying to wake people the fuck up. Everything you believe in is a lie. The government doesn't care about you. School is a scam. All the fucking history books are lies. We need to wake up and stop letting them control us. I'm not mad at my parents. I'm mad at the fucking system. I'm not mad at the dumb girl who believes.
Yeah, this dude, like, mad at the system. You mad at the system, bro. Like, the system don't give a fuck about you. That's what the system is. It's supposed to work without any... It's supposed to work without any... Real talk, any head person in charge. So, for example, the system is able to work with no head person in charge per se, and with any head person in charge, if that makes sense. The system is already running that way. If people that have lived before us that made the system pass it down to their sons and daughters that are now understanding the system, and they just keep running the system just the way it is. It's always going to be, and there's no way you're going to destroy the system unless you plan on dropping a nuclear bomb on everybody that's rich and powerful and has influence, basically. And at this point, that the system is just becoming a bigger form of business. America's for sale. America is a business. It's an actual corporation, and people don't understand that. Like, this guy talking about he knows the red pill. If he does understand the red pill, he will understand that America is a corporation. America is for sale, like how Kanye West famously said, it's for sale. And it's either you start getting money or you don't. Like, if you don't understand what economic you're in, or what kind of social setting you're in, if you don't understand the land or the law that you live in, you're not able to go ahead and understand that game so you can thrive within the game. That's the only point. The system is the game. Understand the game, and then you can thrive in the system. It's basic. It's basic. It's not that hard. Like, you're trying to bring down the system that literally is able to have you on YouTube, if that makes sense. Like, the system is so big, it's created all these businesses and opportunities for people like yourself, for people in general to create products and have you consume it or utilize it in a way that you can go ahead and make money from it. And YouTube is one of those things that derive from the system, basically, and you're utilizing that. It's all part of the whole game, and you're feeding into it. The only way this system can crumble is one or two ways: a big old nuke, or everybody just detaches from it. Everybody has to detach from it. Being on social media, talking about and spewing out the people to wake up. You wake up, now what? You're still in the system. You're every day out there spewing these quote-unquote facts and truths, and you're running a circle within yourself, within the system. You're not going anywhere. You're still on that hamster wheel. You're still in that quote-unquote rat race. The only way you could necessarily detach is you can go ahead, put the phone down, take this long-ass break, and don't care. And make sure whatever's in your world is okay. Because you can literally go around the world, nobody really know you, and you enjoying life. And that's where I'm trying to get to, honestly. There's no other way. Like, honestly, I looked at it so many different ways. I tried several different businesses. Hopefully one of them can really pan out, or hopefully that makes something happen, something got to say. That's why I'm on here. To be honest with you, yes, I want to give some real game. I want to give a different perspective. But at the end of the day, that's why I'm here. This is just the butt ugly truth. This is the truth. When you're right here and you understand both sides. When you understand both sides, that's the truth. When people are out here spewing this, what he says, the BM, I understand when it comes down to the LGBTQ, BLM, whatever, all that stuff is just a distraction. And this is what all the other rich, powerful people are doing. They're throwing distractions in the system to kind of throw you off. Oh, so, you understand the system now? Okay, here's something crazy going on over here. Here's something going crazy over there. Just kind of focus on the game, read the rules, and see what you can get away with within the rules. And that's how the game is really run. For real.
Pleasing this nonsense. I'm mad at the people who brainwashed them in the first place. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than just the people in your circle. It's the whole thing. In control, does not give a fuck about us, Abba.
I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. I don't believe that. Hold on. I don't believe that. We have some right here locally in Montreal.
Locally?
Relax, man. I do a lot of stuff within the community that I live in. Okay, I'm involved with some people. We set up community centers. We set up stuff like that. Really important stuff that's important to me. We work with government officials who help us get the funding. What I'm trying to tell you is I understand your displeasure. I understand the fact that you're like, man, the government's fucking up all this stuff. What I'm trying to tell you is that there are still people that you can work with that can do some change locally. What I think is, hold up, breathe. I think people are.
This guy's still interrupting, man. Like, does it? How you gonna try to change the world when you don't got that power and influence to do so? Even if you did this every day, you don't. Stupid. This is stupid.
We're so terminally online that they look at these problems on the whole, and they're looking at the canvas, not realizing there's a small picture right in front of them.
Okay.
If you spend so much time online trying to solve the world issues, what you end up realizing is you can do nothing because the problem is too expansive.
Exactly. And I don't even agree with every take that this guy says, especially when it comes down to views of, certain things. Like, I guess even the AndrewTate videos and reactions that him and Abba or Preach. I forgot which one. This is Abba, right? This is Abba, and then I don't know which Preach. Like, him and Preach do. So, yeah, like, oh man, but yeah, like at the end of the day, man, like he's saying, just focus on you and what you got going on, because you ain't perfect. You trying to fix the world problem, but you're not perfect. You know what I'm saying? Like, come on, you can't even help the world unless you help yourself. Remember that.
But if most of us
So give up.
focus on this shit happen in our communities,
Okay.
there's a lot more that we can tangibly do
Right.
to make a world a better place.
I knew you
And,
were gonna say
I'm just gonna finish on this last one. Okay.
Look at him,
I
bro.
was very fortunate
He's
that
mad
when I
and
was a young
patient.
man, I had somebody who wanted
Mad
to
and
help me
patient. You could tell. Look,
at a
he's
really
shaking.
pivotal point in my life.
He's
okay, somebody
moving.
who worked in the government. Now,
agitated.
when this person
Like, I don't know
helps
what's
me,
wrong
they
with
didn't
him. He just needs to
understand the
calm
kind
down.
of influence I would later have later on. But they unintentionally, by focusing on their community, helped breed somebody who in the future can help people on a larger scale. I think too many people are so busy to be like, oh my God, there's a typhoon in Taiwan. Oh my God, Sri Lanka's going underwater. There's riots in Tibet. All this stuff. It's like, bro, you don't even know what's happening across the street.
Exactly.
You ain't been to your local community center to volunteer for 1 hour. People are spending so much time consuming everything everywhere, they forgot to just be in their own fucking house. So go deal with your family. That's why Jordan Peterson says, go clean your fucking room, okay? They're saying these things because we're always taking a global approach to everything. And really, you just gotta slow some things down. So that's my
But from the top, they're trying to ruin the home. Divorce rates are at an all-time high. They're telling us to stay inside. Even if we like go clean up the fucking trash on a beach, then they tell you to quarantine. Then they tell you to stay inside. Ultimately, like, yes, you could do local stuff, but the top powers have more control. And like, yeah, okay, your local
telling me,
politicians,
hold
blah,
on,
blah, blah,
hold
the
on, hold on.
comptroller of Montreal.
Yes, I understand social media has an effect on certain marriages' lives, women's perception. The crazy thing about it, and I guess with being a man is another thing, is most men are once they get old enough, or hopefully they gain enough experience, you start, and like Andrew Tate says, you have an independent thought about yourself. Like you in the worldview, like you have your own independent thought. A lot of the women, especially in America, don't have independent thought. They have very group thinking, and they're very manipulated by social media and the point of view of social media. Man, shoot, I could tell you hella stories, but this video would be way too long if I ever did. But yeah, women are easily moved by social media, easily manipulated by social media, man. And if you really understand, if you think about it, the divorce rate is based on the woman, because they said 70 to 80% of the women in a marriage initiate the divorce. So therefore, whatever is going on with the woman internally, that's on them, and that has literally nothing to do with the government. Another government in a necessarily saying, go divorce your motherfucking husband. It's more of a, you could say the businesses, the system of certain business practices. You could say, not even just the businesses, the people within the business, let's say YouTube, TikTok, that are influencing these people's minds. You blame it on the people, and you can blame it on the business. The government been here, low key. If you really think about, the government been here before 2000. Clearly, the government been here since the 1950s, since the 1930s. Divorce rates during that time were not an all-time high. Actually, I don't think they were all-time high until the 50s, from what I understand. I'm about to read up on that before I start spewing some bullshit. I'm not sure if there was could be right. It might have been in law. There might have been some, the movement of the feminist movement. I'm pretty sure was the biggest pusher of the influence of women divorcing their husbands. I'm pretty sure. Social media is nothing new because there's always been social groups. It's just went from the group aspect. Now it's on a platform that's on your phone now. Period. Now that's on your phone, your phone is easily accessible to the world's point of views. Yeah. You could blame it. You can blame it on the government. I mean, really, people are coming up with these fucked up point of views. Trust me. People are coming up with them originally. At the end of the day, man, like, when you think like this, you think that's the truth when it's only one part of it.
Sure, but they don't have any power in the large scale. The people who control us the most have all of the money. Like, the local stuff going on, like, it has a minor effect on what's really happening.
What's really happening? What's really happening? That's the question. Where are you? When I ask this question, what is really happening? And what is the solution? You bringing up problems and you bring up no solutions. I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear it.
People control us more than anything, and people don't realize that. So I'm trying to talk to the people on the stream and tell them what's actually happening. Because people are like, well, the mayor of Wisconsin, bro, who gives a fuck? They don't have any power.
Here's my challenge to you. Go get involved in local initiatives, whether it be your community center. Go do some of that shit, okay? Go work with those kids who are at risk. Go do that. Stream it, film it. I don't care what you got to do. Get permission, do whatever. Do it for a short period of time, and then come talk to me. And if you really felt nothing about that, if you really felt like you didn't influence none of these motherfuckers' lives, or didn't do something for you, or you didn't feel like it didn't matter after that, then I'll concede them.
See, now you're doing it not because it's actually helping the global problem. You're helping it so that you feel good about yourself for volunteering. I did a good thing today.
Oh, it's crazy. I literally... This is so disgusting. Oh my gosh, bro. It reminds me, and I hate to say this about this person, but it reminds me of speaking to a bitch, I swear to God. I had this funeral over, man. I was gonna hold off on this story, but he brought this back up in that, I swear to God, this lady brought that same phrase, and I asked her, we were having a conversation, and the conversation basically went like this, because I know most women are self-centered, and I've always stated this: what is something that you want to do bigger than yourself, right? Beyond getting married, beyond having kids, that will make an impact in the world or the community that you're in, right? And I told her mine. I said, hey, look, I'm starting this brand. It's called Progressive Growth. You see it on the shirt right here. And, my message right now, or at least the influence that I'm trying to provide is, yes, hip hop can have a negative connotation, but there is hip hop rap songs that spread a positive, more motivational influence as far as the lyrics and words that they use compared to if you listen to Young Thug or Gunna or whatever, And I wanted to bring that side on. This is the impact that I'm wanting to make in this lifetime and grow into a big community where we can have conversations of people's growth from where they started to where they're currently at. Because everybody loves a story. Everybody loves a hero story. And that should also, be out there and, X, Y, and Z basically doing, there's a word for this, but doing good things, doing good deeds out there in the world. And she had responded like, oh, that's just like, oh, that's your little, whatever the fuck he just said, bro, because I was like, what? That's your feel-good moment when there's bigger problems out there. It makes you feel good to do that. I'm like, of course it makes me feel good to do that, but like it's bigger than that. Like this whole life is bigger than just us. Like it feels good to make somebody else feel good. That's the whole point. Like when you're in a relationship, that's like saying you be in a relationship and the only reason why you're in a relationship is because it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good to see somebody else feel good. What? Of course. Yes, it does make me feel good. But on the flip side of that, I want to see somebody else to feel good and do good in the world. It's each one teach one. If I don't do that, if I don't project that onto somebody else, how would they necessarily know that this person or they're feeling, they're making an impact or they're doing good or they're feeling loved? How are you going to get those things? I've grown up in a household where love wasn't shown consistently. The expression of love, not even just the word, but just the expressions of love and affection wasn't shown consistently. So for you to go ahead and say that because it just like you trying to diminish the positivity and the good that I'm putting and the impact that I'm trying to make on people's lives. What are you doing? You're not even solving a problem. You haven't even given me a breakdown of how you would try to solve the problem. You haven't done any good in the community. You're no good, but you complain and you're trying to wake people up without doing anything. I can't respect that. It's nothing I can respect. That's nothing I can respect. Nobody can respect that. You've done nothing in the community positive at all besides trying to wake people up. You haven't done something in the community positive. Try to do something. What are you talking? You have no room to talk because it makes me feel good. How dare you? How dare you?
The problem doesn't change. We're all brainwashed. Yes, you feel good because you put out a volunteer sticker and you made some soup for homeless people, but the shit is still happening. They're taking more and more control, and what they're going to do is tell us to stay inside again. Everyone's going to be scared, and we're all going to be shaming each other, and they're going to keep trying to ruin the home by making these women unwifeable and making the men sad. There's a bigger problem going on than soup for homeless people.
I can't speak to what you've experienced. I'm gonna
He said, and he's just talking about homeless people. There's children getting abused. When we know the children in the future and the people who are adults either want to change, they choose to change, or they don't want to change at all. Period. I'm gonna see. I got 8 more minutes. Sorry. Either want to change, they either choose to change or they don't change at all. it's better to help the youth than try to help the adult. I promise you that. If you're not trying to make an impact on the youth, there's no point of you ever talking. The system will always be the system because it's ran by the adults. They're not going to change their mind unless they want to. Period.
One personal thing, that's it. I've had the luxury of mentoring somebody who, from suicide attempts, has gotten their life back together. They still struggle, but we keep in touch and we go through that process. Little things like that. Do I do this for me? I'm sure some portion of it makes me feel good.
Yeah.
But I can't deny that I'm so happy just for them. Even if I never got to see them again, even if I didn't get any updates, just knowing that they good, that I think is important. I think community, helping others, to me there's just nothing. YouTube is cool because in a sense I get to make content and people message me and that's great. But it doesn't feel nearly as intimate or as impactful as the people.
It doesn't feel. You're talking about like how you feel, but it does not solve the bigger problem that's going on. And it makes you feel good that you mentor people, stuff like that. But that's one person compared to all the population that's getting brainwashed.
My God, bro, what the fuck? I know he's not too young and he's not too old. I'm pretty sure he's between 25 and 28. Sneako, whatever the fuck your name is, bro. Where the fuck did you get this content from? Who hurt you? Is the real question. Who hurt you? Because this sounds like a hurt band. It don't sound like from somebody that understands. And he hasn't been. I don't know what he has been through. I don't want to say he has never been through any hardship, but once you've been through ups and downs in life, you get to understand the world pretty quickly. Right after those effects have happened, This definitely sounds like a very hurt person. I used to sound like this before. Trust me. But once you go through life and you understand that bad times don't last and to enjoy the good times while they do last, you have a better perception of the world. Even Jesus couldn't save technically Jesus did save everybody for dying, basically dying for their sins. But while Jesus was physically here, as far as like him still being walking and hung on the cross, he couldn't save everybody. He knew he couldn't save everybody. The only way he could save everybody unless he died, basically. Also meaning that the only way you could even save yourself is you gotta kill your old ideas too. You gotta die within yourself too. And that's a whole nother topic for a whole nother day. But this guy's talking about there's no way you can save the world without having to try to save one. And if you can't save yourself, there's no point of you saving the world. So he needs to save himself first, save somebody else first, and hopefully it's reciprocated. And that's how you make the world better. And I feel like a lot of things too, there's adults in this life and on social media that are saying some crazy things that are influencing the young. And the young are definitely getting easily influenced based on one perception of an adult or older child, because some of them are 14, 15, 16, 17, and you're a little bit more liberal in the way you're thinking when you're younger than when you become older, when you actually have some real hardship. Because the liberal thinking comes from a lot of these kids having a lot of money and not having enough struggles in their life. So what happens is they go ahead and make a way where they split from the conservative way of thinking, or a split of a traditional, I should say, not even just conservative, but a traditional way of thinking to something that is left field because they want something different in their life. This whole life is a hero's battle, where whatever you feel, even though the hero technically may be the villain in this, but it's always the good versus bad. Whatever you consider bad and whatever you consider good is always fighting each other. That's why we always have light and we always have, we always have light and we have night, or we always have day and we have night, whatever you want to call it. Light and darkness, day and night. You understand what I'm trying to get to. There's always going to be a difference in this world. And once you understand there's always going to be a difference, it's like control what you can control, and you can't control it, don't worry about it. Period.
Every single day.
And imagine if every one of us tried to make an effort to help one or two people.
He's right.
You're looking at it as like, I'm trying to fix the world.
Yeah, you can't fix the world.
I can wake up as many people as
I've
possible.
always, and then when I was younger, I used to pray for world peace until I understand world peace is within me. Period.
And one day you're gonna realize you can't fix the world. It's okay. Hold on. I'm gonna finish. And you're convinced you can. And listen, maybe if you're able to do it, then I'm wrong and you were right all along. I would much rather convince people to just take one step rather than tell them wake up tomorrow and run a marathon. My goal is simply like help the people around you. Take care of your family, take care of friends, do whatever you can. And if you could do at least that much, then if you got enough, help more people.
That sounds good. But wait till the next pandemic when we can't even go to the shelter because we got to stay in.
Boy, speaking of hypotheticals, you sound like a bitch. I swear to God, you sound like a bitch. Oh my gosh. Just wait until the. No. Look. We do what we can when we can. You know what I'm saying? We do what we can when we can. And I'm not going to. Look, I can't control that. That's beyond my control. Why would I even be thinking about that? Should I prepare myself for things like that to happen? Yes, of course. Prepare yourself for bad times like that. But when it comes to something beyond your control, you can't do anything about it. I gotta save myself so I can continue to save others once that passes over. Period. It's simple. There's no need to overthink this. There's no need to make hypotheticals. Not in this lane right here, man. What are you doing, man?
When they tell us to quarantine and we can't even mentor the kid because then you're at risk and we got to stop the spread. They don't want us to do that. There's something bigger going on. They control all the people like that. Everybody gets manipulated by their phone in a second. So what we can do, the power we have on social media, is to tell them the truth so people wake the fuck up. You're being lied to. The whole system is designed to make you fail. To me, that feels better than giving a homeless guy some soup. That's one guy versus people like, oh my God, I didn't realize this.
Okay. Crazy thing is a lot of people don't even, well, I say a lot of people. Crazy thing is there's still people that don't have social media that need to be saved. What about them? What about you talking to everybody that has a smartphone? Most people that have a smartphone, are probably not in that bad of a situation. Someone that has access to the computer probably doesn't have that bad of a situation. They can figure something out using the computer, using on social media. There's so many different lanes. The crazy thing is you only going to attract people that feel that way. You're only going to attract people that... The way that the algorithm is worked here on social media is so advanced to the point where you're only going to attract people that really look at it this way. What is my dog doing? My dog out here barking like a motherfucker. I'm about to go check up her in a minute. But the way that the algorithm on YouTube and all these social medias works is you're going to only see whatever interests you. So those people that, are already on the left side, they're only going to think left for the most part unless they're forced to think right, to be honest with you. Right? To be honest with you. And the crazy thing is, it's like the picture theory. We can both see a picture and we will have different perceptions of what we just saw and how we think about what we saw based on whatever your foundation is. And that's just the truth.
I get that, and I feel like if you feel like that stuff is not valuable, then...
It is valuable. It is valuable, but then they're going to tell you to stay inside and you can't do that shit no more.
Hey, man, this pandemic stuff. But I'll leave on this note.
It's going to happen again.
This is my last point. To anybody listening, Sneako, whoever it might be, If you guys get the opportunity, maybe it's not just giving soup to some random person, but if you guys have something you can do consistently and try to help out within your own communities, I'd just volunteer to do it. I know it sounds crazy. I know you're like, why would I take the time to do it?
It doesn't sound crazy, but
I think there's nothing wrong with doing it for yourself. I don't care. I don't give a fuck if people donate $100,000 because it makes them feel good. If you help out people with that $100,000, the people you help out don't give a fuck if you did it because it feels good or whatever. I'm not one of these people who believe that altruism has to be done because you're a fucking saint. Help people if you can, and if you did it, fantastic. I'm not going to question the reasons why. If you want to do it because it makes you feel better, I don't give a fuck. The kid and the people you're going to help are going to be grateful regardless. So if you guys get an opportunity, be it your friends, be it your family, just have opportunity to support the people around you. That's what I would encourage, because not only is it tangible, but you're going to see the progress of the little things that you do. And if you get to be good at that and you got that down pat, then maybe expand beyond that, as some of my friends do within our community. And I think that shit is meaningful, even if you don't see it.
You don't think that you're ignoring a bigger problem to some extent by taking that approach?
I don't think so. I think what you're doing in these kind of circumstances is you're focusing on what's in front of you and what matters. You just think that what matters is different from me, and we can agree to disagree.
No, I agree that matters too, but I think that taking that approach is a smaller impact than what we can do with the platforms we have. We can wake people the fuck up, man.
Just by talking, and you're not doing nothing, bro. If you just about talking and not about that action, let's get the fuck up out of here, bruh. You don't even have the practice. The crazy thing is you don't even have the practice to change the world because you haven't done it yet. If you haven't done those things, there's no point of trying to save the world if you haven't even tried to save your community. Does that make any sense? If you even, it's like me trying to save somebody else, but I haven't saved myself from whatever I'm going through. And I've learned that the hard way. And a lot of people do it, right? They try to go ahead and help X, Y, and Z, and they get crushed and fucked over by this person because they lacked a solid foundation for themselves, and they thought they could do it. And I feel like everybody wants to help everybody for the most part. Like, in some way or form, you want to see other people succeed. At least the people around you succeed. So that's why we do help, right? So at the end of the day, like, if we all succeed, then we can all get together and take over. You only as strong as you. The crazy thing is, if it's the people versus the government, you're only as strong as the weakest person on your team. And I learned that in football. You're only strongest as the weakest person on your team, meaning that if that person is so weak, you can't win any games. You can't perform to your duty. Period. So if we got a whole bunch of weak motherfuckers that are homeless, starving, they're not able to fight the fight that we want them to fight so we can go ahead and take over. Listen to yourself.
I just want you to appreciate. Earlier we spoke and I said, you don't need to be rich to be happy. And you semi-agree, but you try to encourage everybody to be rich. Your mindset translates directly to this. I'm saying, guys, help on a small scale. You don't have to be rich. You guys can do it on your whatever you got, okay? And you're saying, get big, get big, get big. I'm just saying, not everyone's going to be able to get big, and not everyone needs to. Not everyone's got the same size shoulders. Everybody handles.
People at the top get to fly all over, do whatever the fuck they want, while we just give soup to one homeless guy, and they live the life that they want, and they control and manipulate us to the extent that we have no idea about. Your channel's doing.
All right. Well, I think that's part 1 or 2. I'm about to go ahead and play some basketball, get some exercise, and make sure you get at least 30 minutes a day of pimp. Try to work up a sweat. How I feel about this, Sneako is completely wrong. He's only saying part of the truth. He doesn't have a solution. He's just bringing up problems. He wants to solve the grand scheme of things, and he can't even solve something small. You can't trust it. You need examples. You need practice. It eventually works. You're only as strong as the weakest person on your team. And that's the fact. Abba, even though I don't agree with every reaction video that him and Preacher does, I definitely agree on this point because he has a lot of wisdom. Obviously, you've seen he's grown. He's been where Sneako is. I've been where Sneako is as far as mentality-wise. But he's grown to understand the world for what it is and how the system really works. And that's the way you should really think about things when you're going through life. Focus on yourself, save yourself, so you can help to save others. And once you do that, you can go ahead and hopefully build to the point where you can go ahead and take over and do what you want to do, and and see the world the best way you would like to envision it. So with that being said, I'm out. Y'all take care. Peace.